Scott. Welcome to the Vibrant Couple. I'm really excited to have this conversation on video. You and I have known each other a few months, and I've been very impressed with your presence, the simplicity of your, I would say masculine edge that is very sharp and also not cutting. And so I would love to know more about you and how you've grown over the years to inspire our viewers.
Absolutely. Sounds wonderful. It's just to kind of give you a little framework as to different phases of my life and as a journey as a human in this body, as a man in the world is, as a young man, I grew up very reactive, I think, and conditioned to the environment that I was raised in, like so many people do, right? Influence of their parents, society, and did all the things that I thought I was supposed to do, right? I graduated high school, joined the military, and got married and started having children in my early 20s, and have kind of now, as an older man, now with 5 adult children, and through a couple different marriages, have reached a different threshold, a different way of being and existing in this world that feels real honest and true for who I am as a human being in this world, and what it is that I have to offer, that serves not only the people around me that are in my realm, whether they're friends or family or coworkers, lovers, but also, and I think this is really the key point of all of this, is that I've come to a place to where I'm allowing myself and giving myself permission to live the life that really serves me, that inspires me.
So let's start there. So, what are the things you do that are uniquely you? No one else is crazy enough to do it.
Yeah, thank you. I've been blessed with an amazing career and trajectory that I would say my old self has afforded me. Even the wounded parts of myself have stayed true to a trajectory that looks like prosperity and abundance. And now, what I'm enjoying right now is I am on the trip of a lifetime. I'm in the midst of that right now. I am riding my motorcycle from Denver, Colorado to the bottom of South America, the very bottom tip of the world,
Tierra del Fuego?
Tierra del Fuego. That's right.
Wonderful. So, what do you ride?
So I ride a Honda Africa Twin is the exact motorcycle that I ride. And it's an adventure bike. If people don't know what that is, a lot of people that are watching this may not understand what that is. So it's a full-size dirt bike, as it were, that is capable of being very comfortably ridden for many miles on the highway as well. And so a lot of people are much more familiar with the BMW style of GS motorcycles, and I'm riding the Honda version of said motorcycle. Yes,
It looks much lighter than the GS 1250.
it is by a couple 100 pounds.
I'm
So it's
sure.
it's it's much more comfortable and frankly more capable off road, which is the parts that I enjoy the most.
I'm sure you look as handsome on your motorcycle as Ewan McGregor on his GS 1250.
Perhaps, yes. With all the gear
Yeah,
on, I could probably pass as
yeah.
Ewan McGregor, maybe.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you.
And so we can talk about juicy, nerdy details, but tell me more about why you're doing that. What is it bringing
Mm.
to your life?
Yeah, I've come to appreciate this paradigm that there's maybe two kinds of people in this world. There's people that have dreams, and there's people that go for their dreams.
What does the dream mean to you? In your blood, in your flesh,
Hmm.
in your drive, what does it do differently?
Hmm. It's whatever my unique expression is of my life force energy. I believe the framework that I kind of come from is that all humans are eternal souls. But as far as I know, like I know I'm here right now. And as far as I know, like can actually experience and know rather than believe, what I know is that this is my go around. Like this is my chance here to live a fully embodied life. And whatever that looks like for anyone, like my hope is that I can live a life that I am truly inspired by. Like I am building a life that if someone were to write the story of my life, that I would be inspired by that story. Like that is what I am trying to move towards, is a life that inspires me to be fully engaged, to be really awake, to understand the preciousness of every day, every hour, every moment of my life. And so for me, at this time in my life in this season, that looks like going for my dream of riding my motorcycle from my home to the bottom of the world.
How long of a trip is it?
So I've been on the road so far about 5 months, and it's going to take me another 2 months to complete the journey. And if I didn't have the constraints of still maintaining some semblance of a career and a work-life balance, I would have easily doubled that time. Like I'm just
Mm.
enjoying the expansion and the novelty of travel and exploring the world. So, and I understand that this isn't accessible to everyone, but for me, at this time in my life, like this is my dream. And I think for every season of life for people, there are different dreams that are well within their grasp if they can quiet the noise of the outside world and say, okay, what's really possible for them to move towards and to accomplish.
Personally, a huge part of becoming a better man is to straighten my spine. I moved to the Pacific Northwest as a young man, somehow seeking that, Douglas fir straight spine energy. And so
Mm.
I know people who go to caves to meditate, and you seem that riding your motorcycle is the thing that somehow brings you to presence, straightens your spine.
This season of my life, yes. There's other
Mhm.
things that interest me, and so there's a give and take, right? There's a trade off to be had. But at this season of my life, the thing that inspires me, the thing that I'm passionate about, the thing that I'm expressing the greatest vision of my life force energy, like how do I want to spend my life? Like if I were to die tomorrow, would I be lying on my deathbed, proverbial deathbed, so to speak, and feel satisfied? And I can say with 100% enthusiasm, the answer is yes. And it's not that I've accomplished all the things that I want to accomplish. I still have many, many more dreams, but it's that I'm on the path, right? I've given myself a chance. This human in this life, like this embodiment.
So you mentioned 5 children, 2 marriages.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to carry a wife and trailer on your motorcycle and outhouse?
Mm. You know, that's a complicated question with a complicated answer. There's different seasons of life is the reality, and I think by necessity, there's a lot of energy that goes into an intentionality that goes into raising children to be the best humans that they can be, right? And to experience the fullness of this life, and to be in committed marital partnership with someone that is another kind of energy and output. And all of these things are good. They're just different. And I don't know. I can't say unequivocally that yes or no, that it's possible. It really depends on the nuances and idiosyncrasies of a particular relationship, about what spaciousness there is for individuals to pursue their own passions and dreams.
When you talked about your past, a few seconds ago, I felt it was the past, and I feel that your trip feels very present. And so, are you off relationships right now, somehow intentionally?
Yeah, so I've been currently divorced 3 years. I guess it'd be 3.5 years, almost 4 years now, actually. And I've been intentionally single. And I say intentionally insofar as I haven't really pursued a whole lot of dating. And in many instances, I've actually said no to opportunities which were kind of coming my way to date and to be in relationship. And it's frankly because I've been on mission, as I call it. I've been on mission to really come home to myself, and to really be the best version of myself that I can be, and not to be trite, or you know what I mean. I think everyone always wants to be the best version of themselves, but to live the fullest expression of my truth right now. And so right now in this season of life, I am on mission. I am on mission to ride my motorcycle to the bottom of the world. And
Fucking
there is
A.
a certain time, yes, there is a certain
Oh.
time and energetic commitment that goes along with that may not be synchronous with investing in a romantic relationship. But that doesn't, and I think, it's given your audience and what I imagine to be kind of the thrust of your content is, I'm not closed to relationship, but I'm not like actively desperate and grasping and saying like my life is incomplete unless I have a partner or partners, right? As I feel my greatest expression and service to the world is how I can live in fullness of who I am.
So you refer to the listeners. Um, my understanding is about 80% of the people who buy relationship books and likely who watch, relationship YouTube videos are women. And
Mm,
so one of the things I'm hearing from the women I work with is they wish their partner had more of an I want this, I want to do this, I'm going to do that. And
mm,
so I see that fully incarnated in you,
mm,
this is what I'm going to do, period. And I'm willing to be single for a while as a means to doing that. And so for the men who are listening, do you have any advice on how to basically get that dream moving? Men dream of buying a boat, dream of this, dream of that, whatever their dream is. So how can you somehow support these men to basically say, hey, I'm going to do it, period?
mm. There's It's a really great question. And just my personality type is one of like, go for it. And I know it's so simple. It's like, to me, the worst tragedy, and just kind of back up, and I think this adds some color to really this question, if you could indulge me for a minute, Valdo,
Please.
is I'm 52 years old right now, and I have seen people, but particularly men, brothers, people that I've been first person relationships with that were a couple years older than I was at the time, or even younger than I was, that died suddenly, whether it was by suicide or a widowmaker heart attack or pancreatic cancer, and they're dead 6 months later. And for me, the genesis of this way of being has always been, lately, is in my marriage, I had a pretty traumatic neck injury. And I had a herniated disc in my neck that was really incapacitating. And my life was quite large, I thought. I thought my life was big beforehand, and it came down to where it's like I couldn't even take care of myself, let alone my family and my loved ones and those in my realm. And I told myself, it's like, if I ever get a chance to live again, like really like get out of this pain, that I'm going for it. It's it this life, as far as I'm concerned, is one where we are all in. There's no do-overs. This is a sacred opportunity for all of us to embrace the life that we've been given and afforded. And so, circling back to really your question around what does it look like to give permission to men, it's my my response to that would be an enthusiastic yes. No matter what my partner wants, like, I want to support them completely and wholly, and understand that there is going to be a cost to that. But I never want to be someone who is standing in the way of someone else's dream, right? Or being a naysayer and saying all the reasons it can't work. To me, it's more about, you know, go in the direction of your dreams and allow the universe to conspire with you, and things open up. And that's been my experience. And it's so easy as humans to live with this kind of negative mindset. We're wired for negativity, right? It's the bad things in life that are threatening and that could kill us. It's not the good things. So of course we're wired for negativity, and maybe even some of us are very much wired for scarcity. And my frame is one more of abundance and possibility.
I'm hearing something that I had never fully paid attention. So, you know how in the grief cycle, is Elizabeth Kubler-Ross cycle, one is bargaining with God. And
Mm-hmm.
so, in what I heard you say, I heard zero bargaining with God. It's not God, if you give me some life back, I will do this. Is should life come back, I'm going to do this. No bargaining. Cool. 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 And so I think you somehow responded to that question. The second question I wanted to ask you is, of course, in the context of most of the clients I work with, and like 90% of our society that is more cis and heterosexual. How can a woman support her partner, her husband,
Mm-hmm.
her boyfriend to somehow go do that thing that they are dreaming about, but somehow not fully giving themselves permission somehow because they worry, because somehow they care about, leaving their partner, or they care about the risk exposure. What advice would you have for them? What encouragement would you have?
Such a great question. Hmm. Yeah, when I envision the kind of partnership that I'm looking for, right, in this season of my life, um, is that I'm looking for someone who is an enthusiastic fuck yes to whatever life it is that I want to live and explore, to provide the opportunity in the context of partnership to explore the pluses and minuses. Yeah, I'm on this wonderful, amazing motorcycle trip to the bottom of the world, and I know that there has been a cost, right? So there's the pluses and minuses. And so what I would be looking for in a partner is the freedom to really discover for myself what is true for me. Like what are those pluses and minuses? Do I decide, hey, I've been on the road 4 months this year. That's a long time. And I don't like how my relationships at home feel because I've been so distant and away. Like, or like allow the freedom and trust and love to come through that, rather than grasping onto, well, there's a certain right or wrong way of being in the world. And it, I want to be with a partner who is willing to wrestle with me and contend with me in that regard, but allow me the freedom and trust and respect and love to to pursue my fullest expression in this life. To be like the
Beautiful.
totality of, like, I love this analogy of, like, there's a U-shaped hole in the universe, right? There's a Valdo-shaped hole in the universe, and you are the only one who can fully occupy that space. Like, can you fully occupy your finger holes and the finger slots and your toes and, like, and the expansion? And it's like, that is made for you and your unique expression. And I am a 100% enthusiastic fuck yes to you and my partner living whatever their full expression is, provided that it doesn't do any harm to other people. Like, to me, it's this idea of throwing off the constraints of and paradigms of what a traditional relationship may look like, as far as time spent together and relationships together and all those things.
Over the last week and a half, I've been preparing for my first relationship tool video. And so one of the pieces I've been writing on and refining is, what are the assumptions? One of these few principles is secure attachment is practiced. And so what I'm sensing is twofold in our conversation. One is for your next life partner. Secure attachment will be a given, and then you will somehow hot forge it in practice in real life through whatever trips you take on your motorcycle or over other crazy outer or inner adventures.
I like this idea of attachment. I really do. And I will say that personally, I am someone who, if I were to take a test historically, I would show up as someone who was anxiously attached in that paradigm, as far as anxious, avoidant, secure.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I know that healing is possible and movement is possible more towards secure attachment.
So let's somehow turn the table. So let's pretend that your next life partner is a sailor and she goes on months long, solo sailing over the world. I can picture your anxious attachment to be fairly activated. How would you somehow deal with it?
Mm.
And I'm going to somehow give myself a plug there, become a better man in the process.
Mm-hmm. You know, when I hear you say that possibility, I'm such a lean in to that. I'm so enthusiastic about other people living their fullest expression. Again, it's like I'm building a life that I am inspired by, right? So that I might inspire others to do the same for themselves. So I guess that's how I approach things. But with regard to my anxious attachment, and I think this is true whether you're secure, avoidant, or anxious, is it really comes back to the relationship with self. As I and my growth and my real work in personal development and just evolutionary consciousness or whatever is around this idea that my safe place, my safe haven is to be found within myself, that I am sufficient, right? It's along those same lines of I love this question of, if you were to write a list of all the people who love you, how long would it take you for you to list oneself, right? And so for me, it's trusting in my essential goodness, my own internal sufficiency and security, that no matter what happens in the context of relationship or in the world, that I have me, that that my internal landscape is secure enough in who I am that I'm not outsourcing that to a partner. So that allows me to be open-handed for my partner to go on month-long plus sailing adventures. And sure, I'd miss them or whatever, but as far as feeling insecure about the relationship, it's like I I trust. I trust that the person I'm in partnership with is going to do what they think is in what they feel and think and believe is in their fullest expression of their humanity, and that if God forbid, they meet the sexy Brad Pitt sailor who's on his adventure around the world while she's sailing and falls in love with him, it's like I want to hold my relationship and lovers with an open hand and be like, as long as this is serving both of us, like, do we choose one another on a daily basis? Because it's a choice. It's like, I want to be in relationship with you, but I don't need to be in relationship. I don't need to be in relationship with you. I don't need to be in relationship to feel whole.
So let's take the opposite scenarios. I picture that many women would somehow gladly jump behind you on the motorcycle, hold you tight, and say, Scott, please go as fast as you can. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure there are many women who said, motorcycles, never. So,
Mm-hmm.
what if your next life partner or in your search for her, you meet a woman who says, motorcycles, never?
I'm just
Sorry
laughing
to ask
because
the question, dude.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm just chuckling because if there wasn't a bigger red flag, that's it. It truly is that there. I do believe that there are fundamental incompatibilities. I mean,
Mm.
there are things um, that are deal breakers in relationships that can't always be worked through, right? To me, the fundamental basis for any relationship is, am I in relationship with someone who is willing to contend with me and work through the hard things?
So let's
But if
pretend let's
yeah,
pretend that she's beautiful. You have wonderful adventurous sex. You have wonderful hikes and whatever else you do in nature, skiing and all those things. And so somehow she has a spirit of adventure, but there is something about motorcycle says, Scott, I'll follow you everywhere, but not on a motorcycle. Is that a
mm.
red flag?
So there's a couple ways to approach this answer, and with the hypothetical. And I don't need her to join me. I don't even need to necessarily her to be an enthusiastic, I'm super stoked you're doing this, Scott, right? I feel scared or anxious about you going on these trips. But do I support you going after your dreams?
Yeah.
Even if I don't completely understand or agree, that is a yes. I don't have to have, again, you know, ultimately this life, as far as I'm concerned, it's a single player game. So, we can partner up and be with other people along the way, but I don't need that partner. I want a partner, but I don't need a partner to live my fullest expression. I don't need permission from anyone. And so if I was with someone who said, yes, go do these things, Scott, but I disagree, I don't, whatever, but I support you in you pursuing your dreams, that's fine.
Oh, so that sense of adventure in you,
Mm.
the masculine in me feels very connected with you. The feminine in me finds it very sexy. And so just pretend we were in a studio the old-fashioned way, and we were somehow taking a picture of you. So please show us the best, adventure, no BS smile you can.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Hmm. I'm not much of a model, but that's what
Who
I could muster in
cares?
this moment.
You know what I'm learning more and more is this is not about how we look. This is not about how much money we have. This is not about all the techniques. This is just about presence.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
feel present to me. That's wonderful.
Mm. Thank you. I feel present to myself and to my life. And that's kind of the secret gift, is
Hmm.
it's kind of a superpower. I feel like sometimes is this idea of, I can be present with you. I can be present with a woman, no matter what she looks like, whether she's beautiful or someone I consider less attractive, but it's like that full presence. That's like the juiciness of life. I don't want to miss those things. And that's part of my big adventure as well. It's not just all motorcycles. It's being radically present in the moment and embracing the hard things as well. Like I'm, while it's more difficult and challenging, I'm just as enthusiastic about the days where I need to grieve the loss of something as I am the ecstatic days of seeing Machu Picchu on my motorcycle.
Well, you must have done a lot more practice than I have. I try to be open those days, but they don't excite me yet. So it seems like there's a lot more
Mm.
work to do, and seeing you inspires me.
Mm. Thank you.
Cool.
Mm. I really need to give you some credit, Valdo, for that. It was through some coaching with you that I realized that I have a tendency to say more than maybe is necessary, um, to alleviate my own anxiety about being misunderstood. And as I've found security within myself, more that deeper level of presence, even with my own self and sufficiency, that I'm trusting that even if I'm misunderstood, it's like, I'm still okay. I have me. And I need to trust and empower the people that I come in contact with, that if they have a problem with how I present or what I say or whatever, that I'm going to trust them as equally sovereign beings to inquire and be curious about what more they want to know, or if something strikes them as sticky or crunchy. And if not, then they're not my people. And that's okay.
You feel incredibly more sexy and trustable talking less like you've done for the last few months. That's wonderful.
Hmm.
So please send a picture when you are at Terra del Fuego.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'll find a way to post it. I don't know how to post pictures on YouTube yet. And maybe you and I do a follow-up. Actually, I would love to do 2 follow-ups.
Mm-hmm.
One is after your purpose is completed, you'll most likely have some, how do you call that, when a woman has a baby and some postpartum depression. I felt that on and off after my own purposes got completed. And then I'd love to interview again when you have your next purpose, whatever it is.
I love it. I'm very open to that. That sounds wonderful. And
Cool.
and if I could add a little bit more context to even just what you
Yeah.
offered, is I have not, your listeners probably don't know this, but I've been doing this trip in segments. I haven't just said, okay, I'm leaving Denver and I'm driving all the way to the bottom. I have been able to get away from work for about 3 to 4 weeks at a time, and parking my bike, storing it, flying home, working for a few months, going back, getting on, continuing on southward. And I will say that, yes, there is this natural kind of expansion that goes with just such an unbelievable experience. And to realize that and embrace the fact that there is a contraction that comes and it's natural, right? Nothing in nature blooms year round. And to really embrace uh, the 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 contraction that comes and realize it's normal, and also to, through embracing it and not resisting it, the dark days and the doldrums and the pastel life that I may normally live here versus the vibrant acrylic life I live on the road, it's there's so much learning to be had, even in the contraction, frankly, even I think greater learning.
If this video inspired you to live your life more fully or to support men in your lives to become better men, I invite you to hit the like button below so that you can be notified when I publish new juicy content. And please share with every man in your life you think would benefit. I look forward to seeing you very soon.